Dear students, today let us take the discussion of balance of payments. What is balance of payment? Balance of payment refers to it is a systematic record of countries' total receipts and total payments. We are adopting double entry bookkeeping method. Therefore, the two sides of the balance of payment must and should be always equal. Therefore, actually the balance of payment will be always in equilibrium. But normally we are going to say that disequilibrium in the balance of payments. Disequilibrium in the balance of payment means in the balance of payment there are two accounts, namely current account and capital accounts. The balance of payment contains two sides. One is receipt side, the other one is a payment side. In the receipt side we will have current account as well as capital account. So also in the payment account we will have current account and capital account. Now regarding the current account, there are two important items, namely visible items and invisible items. So also in the payment side. Whereas in the case of a capital account, it contains long-term loans, short-term loans and the income earned from the sale of gold or assets, like that. In the capital account, the income the money we have to pay for the sale of the purchase of the gold or purchase of the assets, and long-term loans we have borrowed as well as short-term loans we have borrowed. Now regarding the disequilibrium in the balance of payment, actually disequilibrium in the balance payment should be read as disequilibrium in the current account of the balance of payments. So there is a subtotal in the balance of payment, that is on one side on the current account, the other side in the capital account. If you are going to add the two together, then it will become grand total, then it should be equal. Normally the subtotal in the current account will not be always equal. Either the amount in the current account will be greater than the payment account or vice versa. Suppose in the receipt side the total in the current account is greater, then we are going to call it as a favorable balance of payment. On the other hand, if the total in the current account of the receipt side is greater, then we are going to call it as unfavorable balance of payments. Now current account contains, as I told you, visible items and invisible items. Visible items includes the trade, that is on the receipt side it is export or what exactly I want to call mercantile trade, whereas in the payment side it includes import, again mercantile trade. Now the difference between these two, namely export and import, is called as balance of trade. Suppose export is greater than the import, favorable balance of trade. Suppose import is greater than the export, then it is unfavorable balance of trade. Then as I told you, one more item is there, invisible items. Invisible items include three things. One, in the exports, in the receipt side, income earned, that is namely one, the income earned from the services. One. Second one, the income we have earned from the investment in other countries. Third one, unilateral receipts from other countries. At the same time, in the payment side, again we will have three items, namely one, the foreigners will go to render service, therefore we have to pay the money, that will enter there. Foreigners will go to invest their money in this country, so they will go to earn income and they will take away the money to their country, that becomes payment. Then we will go to pay unilateral payments to the other countries. So the current account contains visible and invisible two items. What exactly mean visible items? Visible items means it is exchange of goods. When goods are flowing out of the country, money will go to enter into the country. It is visible. That's why it is called as visible account. Whereas invisible means when you are going to render services, you can't see the services. Maybe for example software industry. Here we are going to work it out and we are going to send it to the communication system. So money will enter into the country. It is service is not visible, but money will go to enter. That's why it is called as invisible items. Now if you add these two together in the receipt side, it becomes total in the current account. And on the other hand, in the payment side, if you are going to add both the visible and invisible items, it becomes total in the current account of the payment side. Now, if the differences are, if there is any differences, it is called as a disequilibrium in the balance of payments. Now, favorable balance of payment means country is in a better position. Unfavorable balance of trade, balance of payment means the country is in problem or difficulties. Normally, majority of the developing countries are experiencing unfavorable balance of payment. That means their current account payment, that is in the payment side, is greater than the receipt they are receiving in the receipt side. What I can call current account deficit, CAD, it is called as CAD. One of the most important consideration to measure the economic development of a country is CAD. To what extent there is a current account deficit? Because if there is a current account deficit, the country has to borrow money from other countries, or it has to sell the gold, or it has to sell the accumulated foreign exchange. That means a country's performance is not satisfactory. On the other hand, if the CAD is favorable, it means foreign funds are flowing excess into the country. Country is receiving more than what exactly it is paying. Naturally, what will going to happen? Country will be in a favorable position. Therefore, the study of the balance of payment is very, very important. But normally, we are going to feel that, whenever we are referring discussing the balance of payment, it means whole contents of the balance of payment. No, we are following double entry bookkeeping method in the accounting system. Therefore, the two sides should be one and the same. Not even a single paisa error should be there. Therefore, whenever you are going to read disequilibrium in the balance of payment, you should read it like this, namely, disequilibrium in the current account of the balance of payments. When we are referring this, it includes export of the country, that is visible items, and on the other side, invisible items. Three things as I told you. One, namely the services we are rendering to the other countries, our investment in other countries. Indians, for example, take our country, Indians may invest their money in other countries. And third items, the other countries or other international institutions may pay monies to our country, maybe in the form of aid or maybe donation, something like that. That is incorporated in the unilateral receipts. At the same time, in the payment side, we will have visible items, as I told you, invisible items. Whenever we are going to import the commodity from other countries, now we have to pay the money to them. It will be registered here. Like that, in the case of invisible items in the payment side, whenever foreigners will going to render service, we have to pay them. For example, if there is any problem in the Boeing aeroplane, then we have to call the necessary people from America, service people. We have to pay money for them. Money will flow out of the country. So naturally, it comes under the payment side. Then, now you may be aware of the fact that large number of foreign companies, particularly multinational companies, are entering into this country, investing the money. They will going to earn a huge amount of profit. Naturally, this money will flow out of the country. They are rendering service to the country, but at the same time, they are investing their money, they should get the reward. They will take the money. This is called as a foreign investment, what exactly not called FDI. For this, they will earn income and they will take away the money from our country to their country. Naturally, it will be registered in the payment side. Like that, for example, Asian Development Bank, or maybe World Bank, or maybe IMF, or maybe America, Japan, or Russia, something like that. All these countries will going to give maybe aid or loan to the country. Naturally, they will be entered in the unilateral payments in the receipt side. Like that, whenever we are going to pay the money to the other countries, for example, for Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, for various purposes, it is called as unilateral payments. It will be entered into the payment side. Therefore, a balance of payment, we will have two sides, namely receipt side and payment side. Both the sides should be, the grand total figure should be one and the same, but difference exists in the current account. That is, if normally it's impossible to have same figure in the current account of the receipts and payment side, it's impossible. The simple reason is there are millions and millions of entries will be there. Naturally, it's impossible to have a same figures in both the sides. Either receipt side will be greater or payment side will be greater. If receipt side is greater, favorable balance of payments. On the other side, payment side is greater, then it is called as unfavorable balance of payments. Then let us take the discussion of what are the actual items we are going to enter into the balance of payments. Now I have given only the gist of the topics and titles. In the case of export, for example, we are exporting coffee, we are exporting gold jewelries, diamond jewelries we are exporting. Like the importing, we are importing, for example, mobiles or hardwares from other countries, etc., etc. How they will be entered, where exactly they will be entered, or foreign direct investment, or Indians will going to invest their money in foreign countries, where exactly we are going to enter these items, or whenever there is a cyclone or something like that, we are going to receive the money from other countries, or whenever the other countries are in difficulties, we are going to pay the money, where exactly all these entries will be made. Let us take this all discussion in the next session.